Hello again, everybody. Harry Boxer, a technical trader at thetechtrader.com. It's Tuesday night, October the 7th. The markets are coming down and coming down with a vengeance. About the only stocks that are worthwhile trading alongside for the most part are some of the Ebola-related stocks or the ultra shorts. And so we're going to go over some of those, and we're also going to go over some of the shorts themselves and see how they're doing. It's pretty ugly out there. The McClellan Oscillator closed at minus 137. Now that was down 67 today, but not really oversold enough. And but you're seeing some other indicators are getting pretty steeply oversold. We'll have to be really extremely careful, and I would also suggest trading lighter than usual. Make sure that 100% everything you enter, you have a stop on. Protection of capital is most imperative in this environment. EHTH, that's Alpha Protec, along with Lake, are two companies that supply containment suits and equipment for treating Ebola patients and other diseases, of course, as well. But you can see that it's been stair-stepping its way higher. Had a nice pop on volume last week and pulled back on low volume. And today, another 11% up on 2.25 million shares. Decent volume, the second biggest I've seen in this stock in a long time. If we can get up to resistance around 4, this stock may be a $5 stock. But for now, watch it carefully and watch support at yesterday's low at around the $3 level. BDSI is one of our swing trades that is neither related to Ebola that I know of, but it is biotech and it's acting well. Today it popped up to as high as 1809 before backing off to 1749 when the market was selling off. We're still up 63 cents, and that's about 3.75% on 1.2 million. Decent volume, but maybe not enough to get it really going yet. However, relative strength in a weak market, always something to watch. Over 18.5 in particular, I think we can see 22. GPRO is the star of the day, or the spotlight stock of the day, of the last few days actually. And it's taken over the spotlight from TechMirror, which is selling off. GPRO was one of the Ebola stocks approved, drugs that have been approved for experimental use anyway. So take a look at the way it popped to here and pulled back to test support around that zone. Held it and ran up, and it spiked up in 2 days now. We traded 14 million shares, and you can see it spiked up to 35 before backing off. Nevertheless, up 1 3/4 or 5.6% on big volume for this stock. Now, if it's a wave up and we're finishing here, look for support on any pullback near 20, let's say 30. 31 actually is support. Beneath that, we're looking at a move down into the high 20s. The target is 38, maybe 9. Excuse me. GoPro, wow. All I got to say is the stock just doesn't quit. Now, we knew we had a tiger by the tail, and I knew the stock was looking at 85, 88, and then as high as 95 to 100, we reached both of those targets. And yet, based on this, it's just starting to break out, and it may head up towards 110. Interesting. Keep a close tab on this one, as it is kind of a volatile stock in this kind of a market. Could be subject to steep pullbacks if we get a really bad market. But for now, one of the better, if not the best, relative strength stock in Wall Street. Lake was the other stock that involved with containment equipment for the Ebola outbreak. And you can see how it's popped up through the top of the channel today. But there is some lateral resistance going all the way back here from 2010 and 2012 that could thwart the advance. Keep an eye on the important 2010 high up around 1180. That could be the next target, followed by a move up to 14 if this thing really starts to roll. So your targets are 11 3/4 and 14 if it extends its momentum beyond this zone right there. There's another look at the 1 day, and there's your targets. Up next, NBLY. Well, it's been really fun watching this stock do well. After it came down this morning to 51.33, it bounced nicely at 56 and change, but backed off into the close with many other stocks. Still up, $1.22 or 2.25%, very rare for any stock to be up, and the ones that are, you want to keep an eye on. Volume was a solid 8.3 million, 8.4 actually, and we'll just have to see if we can get it back over resistance in that zone there, which could lead to stock as high as 62.4 range. But let's say for now my near-term target is a test of 60, and then we'll see what happens beyond that. SIMO acting very well of late, and take a look at the pattern that occurred recently as it ran out multiple waves to the top of the channel and then down to the bottom of the channel before bouncing 3 days in a row now. Today's volume, 1.3 million, was breakout across the declining tops line. I'm looking for a retest on SIMO of near 29 and then ultimately low 30s, but again, keep close tabs on the weekly low and near 24. Underneath that, won't be pretty. And now look at the ultra shorts. The SPXU has had a nice run up of late. You can see it pop here up 211 or 4.6% on solid volume of 5.1 million. Now the declining tops line here, lateral price resistance here, was taken out, and then the stock popped to the 48.5, 65 level before backing off, and yet came out again today, up, like I said, to 11. If we can get this to follow through here, I think we got to run at the 50-51 zone next. Then beyond that, off to the races. But for now, with the markets getting into a more oversold position, I'm looking for very short-term release. Same with TZA. Looking back in the overall structure, you see multiple tops. April, May, up around the 19 range. That's my short-term target. We get through that, the February high at about 20.5 would be next. So 19 and 20.5 in the next day or two. UVXY really acting well. In the last 2 days, it reversed sharply from a spike low at 24.85. Today's high at 31.38. 7 points in 2 days, I'll take it. Watch resistance there, last week's high at 33. Through that, we could see 39. And the VXX, something we don't look at too often because we trade the UVXY. I did want to show you that 52 million shares has been trading, and a lot of stock trades on this one. This is VIX futures. If we get it through 33, we could see a run up to 35. Beyond that, 38.75. Now look at the shorts now. Alphabetically as always, CBI, Chicago Bridge, ugly. Bear wedge, snap back to resistance, and a hard rollover from 65 to 53 just in the last 3 weeks or so. If you look at the way this pattern is showing up, we could test 50, 51 very, very short term. EHTH rolling over again. If you see this sharply down, it got up to the top of the channel, declining 50 near price resistance, and rolled back over. Look for a test of 19, followed by 16, maybe 15 on EHTH before it's over. EMES rolling over steadily at the bottom of the channel, price support. Could get a bounce in here, but overall, if it doesn't get back above 109.10, we could see a rollover towards 80. Here falls in a massive, large head and shoulders pattern. Rolling over from resistance here, it's come straight down from the 40 range to 33 and change. I'm anticipating we see 29 on it before long. High crush partners, how about that for an A, for a short? Crushed is right. Big reversal day back on September 2nd at 71.88. Here we are at 43 and change about 5 weeks later. And yet, just breaking the long-term channel, we could see some lower lows towards the mid-30s. IN, a box of short, it's bear flagged, and this large bear coil is being tested. If it takes out 40, we could very well see this near 35 quickly. Kindred Healthcare, another short. Broke down here, bouncing back to resistance. A rollover now, and we can see this plunge, and plunge sharply down into the 17, 18 range. Well, maybe more than that, let's see. 17 and then down to 12.5, potentially longer term. Intermediate term, major support down around, let's call it 13. So 17 and 13 for Kindred. In US, well, as far as I'm concerned, despite this move up, it's nothing more than a bear flag. Low volume, flat technicals. We tagged the 50-day today and reversed, but we need this to break down below that. If we do that, and that's a bear flag, you can see that 35 is my next target. Precision cash bars has fallen apart. Broke the neckline, rallied back in a 3-wave corrective bear flag here. It's been rolling over steady, down 582 today. We may see the stock trade quickly down towards the 210-15 zone short term. POL, rollover, wedge, rollover again, and now rolling over yet again. We have some support here. I expect that to get tested around 32 3/4, and then all the way down to 30 potentially, depending on how bad this decline gets. Kihu, well, that's had one hell of a slide, hasn't it, folks? From 104 to 63 in about 6 weeks. Now, after bouncing off the support for a couple days with lousy technicals, it's beginning to roll over again. For me, over 70.5 should stop. Under 63.39, we could fall apart towards the high 50s. TEX, top broken, snap back to the neckline, formed a down channel, hit the bottom of it today, falling from 37 down to 29 and change. My goal is 27 or even less. Tupperware, a massive head and shoulders over the last year and a half. Finally broke here with a breakaway gap, and then a bear flag formed. Now it's rolling over again. This thing gets below the 67.5 8 zone, could see it down towards 60. United Technologies, we've talked about this a couple times. Big roll over top, trend line breaks there, neckline breaks there, support breaks here, secondary support causes a snap back to the declining tops line, roll over again. Today down 280, and you can see that support at 99 and 95, and I expect them to be tested. And lastly, Waddell and Reed, a boxer, swing short at this point, down another $1.27 or 2.5% today. Nearly a million traded. You can see after support broke, we're headed for 45.6. And that is it tonight, folks. It's not a pretty picture. Talk to you in the trading room tomorrow.